Sing on pitch, sing in tune, sing on key, hit the note, have note accuracy, avoid pitchiness, fix intonation. Those all mean the same thing. But whatever you want to call it, you want to do it, right? Hi, I'm Lenore. I'm a singer and a voice teacher. The $10 million question I get all the time is, how do I sing in tune? How can I hit the right notes? How can I carry a tune? And so on. I'm going to answer this question today, starting with a very hard truth. Most people get this wrong. Singers, students, and teachers. So today we put it right. I'm going to talk about what makes the notes, the melody, the different pitches in our vocal instruments, what actually creates them. Then I'll talk about how most people try to correct and control the pitch. And then I'll tell you the right way that I have seen can actually help you sing in tune. So what makes a note in our voice or a pitch happen? How can we hear a note, la, and repeat it accurately? The answer is the length and the thickness of the vocal cords. We have muscles inside the larynx which help stretch and contract the vocal cords. I have an article about how the voice works with multiple resources that you can check out and really understand how that works. But in essence, the vocal cords change their length and their thickness, and when you have a thinner and longer cords, you get a higher pitch. When you have a shorter and thicker pair of vocal cords, you get a shorter pitch. And those muscles who are responsible for stretching and contracting the vocal cords are subconsciously controlled. Let me say this in other words. You cannot control those muscles. They work on their own. They work automatically. So that means you can either go la, or you can't, or you can maybe work on it. We'll talk about that later. But it just happens. You don't know how you contracted or stretched your vocal cords to make this pitch. It just happened. We're not even sure scientifically where in the brain this control takes place or activated. But what I can tell you is that I have just decided that this part of the brain that controls the vocal cords stretching and contracting to the correct pitch is called George. So I call him George, and George is responsible for the melody. You have no control over the right pitch, so stop controlling it. Here's how most people try to correct or control their pitch. They try and hit the note. They aim for the note with all their might, really concentrate on it, and then they use muscle tension to do that. So they aim for the note with muscle tension, and if they hit the wrong note, they try to correct the note by thinking up or down, which, by the way, is not what the notes are. The notes are here in the vocal cords, which are horizontal, and then they stretch and contract. There is nothing up or down about the pitch in the human voice. So this is an illusion that we all have, most of us, and we're thinking up for high notes, down for low notes, and we activate more muscles that we don't need in order to create the notes. And think about it this way. If you're using muscle tension, you are limiting your larynx, you're limiting your vocal cords, and it's very difficult to control your vocal cords and your larynx, which is your voice box, if you have all kinds of tension around it. Some people can get away with it, but the throat is not going to like it because you use tension. So over time, that's going to be a burden and it's going to create vocal fatigue. So how can you control the pitch then? That depends if you are a part of the majority, the 95% of the population who doesn't really have pitch problems, but more have a problem with vocal technique and controlling the actual voice. Or if you're part of the 5% which have pitch awareness problems. So let's talk about those two groups. Most people, the vast majority of people, can do what I just did before when you hear a note and you can repeat it accurately because George is functioning very well. So for most people, George is awake, alive and kicking, and no problem. In that case, if you still have pitch problems, meaning sometimes your notes are not accurate, and you know what? Even Ariana Grande has those moments. Everybody has pitch problems sometimes. If that's you, you need to go and correct your vocal technique and ignore, I repeat, ignore the fact that your notes are wrong. Do not try to control the pitch. Do not try to hit the note. Do not try to bring the note up or down according to what you think it should be. George knows the note. George can give you the note by stretching or contracting the vocal cords as much as necessary, if indeed this note is within your range. So if this note is within your vocal range and George knows what the note is, your job is to enable the voice, free it up from muscle tension, learn proper vocal function, which means you need to learn vocal technique. Go to a singing teacher, take a singing course, both even better. Do something to free up your voice. And when you correct the technique, if you are one of those 95%, then you let George do the melody for you, and there you have it. Your pitch problems are gone. How can you tell if you're one of those 95%? The answer is if you know that you are singing the wrong pitch. If you know that you're a little bit flat or like under the pitch, or you're a bit sharp, which means you're over the pitch, if it was just completely off, and you know, that means that George knows what he's doing. So you're part of the majority, and you can go ahead and take care of your vocal technique and forget about correcting the pitch. If you're one of those who don't know if they hit the right pitch or not, you have no idea what you're doing at all when it comes to following a piano, maybe you've never even done it, you've never tried to follow a singer accurately and match them, maybe someone told you that you're singing off pitch but you had no idea, then maybe you are one of the 5%. That doesn't mean, by the way, that you're tone deaf. That's what the research would define as tone deaf, if you cannot tell. But I'm here to tell you that you can train George. George for you is asleep. I have not met a single person without a George or with a dead George. So just saying, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a statistician. I can tell you I've been teaching for 17 years and I've never met a single one. So you have good chances that you can train your George. So here's how you do it. You can go to one of the pitch training apps. There are many of them, but there is one really nice program that I like called Singing Carrots that I also have teamed up with, and I can show you how to use that program to train your pitch awareness. So you can go to the tutorial I made for you on how to use that program to train your George or train your pitch awareness and develop that part of your brain that will help you regulate the vocal cords and hit the right pitch. And once your George is starting to wake, you don't even have to wait until it's, a master or anything. You can start in parallel to that, also work on your vocal instrument and the healthy vocal function and just learn some vocal technique. And the combination of the two will grant you the control of your voice and of your pitch. Slowly but surely, or quickly but surely, depends on the individual, you will start following the singer or the piano or whatever melody you hear more and more accurately. I have seen it work time and time again. Trust me, just go do it. And hit me up with any question. Go and check out my article on how to sing in tune and enjoy singing. Bye.